Shuckalaka kapow! How's it going, old schoolers? You're kicking it old school with Russell J.S. And I am your host, Russell J.S. It's been a while since I made a video. I keep on saying how I'm going to make a video and when I'm going to make a video. And in the time that I want to make the video, sometimes I don't have the time to do it because, I get so busy and everything and, just bills, I'm thinking about paying bills and everything, I gotta, I have to adult, I have a adult life, so I got to adult. But I have something very special tonight on Kicking It Old School. This is something that came to me just a week after Christmas on New Year's Eve. I guess you could say Santa Claus forgot that it was on his sled after he returned to the North Pole that night, Christmas Day. But it's something very unique, something really cool. And, I'm contemplating on whether or not I'm going to use it or just keep it as a collector's item on a shelf. Check out what I found. A Pac Man mini arcade pinball. Now, I'm sure you've seen a lot of these. It says it's a collector's series deluxe, and it says collect them all right here. But, I'm taking a look at this, and I don't know, I haven't even opened it yet. I've had this almost a month now, and I haven't even opened it, but we're going to open it today. And remember, if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit a like, subscribe, leave comments in the box down below, ring the bell for notifications. Oh, and if you notice a blemish here on my right cheek, let me show you that. At work yesterday, I was using a metal pole and I was pounding down a wooden crate in the trash compactor, just trying to get it in there. And what happened was the pole ricochet bounced, and it hit me right here. And I thought for a moment I lost some teeth. I'm like, like that. But I was starting to see blood. So I rushed into first I went to the first aid kit at the warehouse. I had blood, almost going down my neck and everything. It was gushing. And, I wasn't even thinking about the pain. And I went to go get some, whatever I could to clean out the wound and bandage it up for the day. I'm sure it's going to leave a scar on my face, on my cheek. Heck, you could probably all start calling me Scar Cheek, except not Tony Montana, it's all okay, man. But yeah, and, I had a lot of people say to me, like, did it hurt? And I was like, only a little bit. But you know what? You have to remember, I'm Gen X. I'm old school. I was that 9-year-old kid who was riding a bicycle all day Saturday, or a skateboard, who usually fell, either scraped his elbow, scraped his knee, scraped his hands, or his face, or all three. I've had my face, I've had my nose scraped. I've had, from doing a stupid thing when I was 8, riding a skateboard on a sidewalk, sitting on it, and I hit a crack and I flew over and right on the sidewalk. And, I had, many times I fell off my bike and I scraped a knee, or I scraped an elbow or my arm, but nothing major. And you know what I still did? I still spent all day playing outside, even with the blood that dripped, caking on my arm or caking on, on my leg. We were tough. Us Gen X kids, we were tough. We still are tough. But at any rate, here I am. I got this. I got to find out what batteries this thing takes. Okay, it takes 3 AA size batteries, which are not included. Recommended for ages 3 and over. Yeah, right. I don't know. We're going to take a look at this. And remember, again, if you're new to the channel, hit a like, subscribe, leave comments in the box down below, and ring that bell for notifications. And without any further ado, let's open this bad Oscar up, shall we? Well, here is the unit itself, and I've seen other videos. All it does is it makes noise to sound like the game. And all you do right here with it, see, there you go. You hit the plunger right there. And the flippers work and everything. Tilt. All right, so my analysis on this right here, this is not a toy that you give to Junior for Christmas or for his birthday. This is something that you put up on the shelf and make it into a conversational piece. I don't think that, this would be something that you would give to your child. And from what I hear, all it does is just makes the noise. So really all it is a collector's item. It's not a toy you give a child. So basically what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to put it back in its, in its package. And I'm just going to have it as, like I said, a collector's piece. Just for conversation purpose only. As a matter of fact, I think it's going to really look good. See, I'm getting ready to redo my bedroom, or as I used to call it, the laboratory. Like back when it was the days of Dr. Old School. So what's going to happen is, I'm getting ready to redo the laboratory, and, I'm going to have maybe put a new bed in and some other things. Because I'll tell you what, and I'm going to get a twin bed, because to have a queen in that room, oh my God, you really cannot move around in that thing. I mean, I get up in the morning, sometimes I find myself banging my knee into something in the middle of the night. I get up if, like I get thirsty, or I want to get some kind of midnight snack or something. And, it's like, and there's not a lot of space. It's, almost like a closet that I could sleep in. But at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and I'll be right back. I'm going to put this back in the box. So there it is right there. The mini arcade pinball Pac Man Collector's Series Deluxe. And the side of the box right here, as you saw, it says collect them all. And, again, this right here, I'm going to keep it in the box as is. I didn't even put batteries in it, because I've seen other videos and I'm like, yeah, this isn't something that you play or you take on a trip with you. This is something that you put up on your shelf, and it just becomes a conversational piece. And I also wanted to tell you, I was driving around town. I had to get gas for a road trip, and I had to go down to Walmart and look for some things, and Walgreens to pick up, body wash and shampoo. And I was looking around, I see some potential for adventure videos. I'm thinking about doing that, like figuring out how I could go ahead and start up another channel. And I'd call that maybe, Russell J.S. Adventures, or the Adventures of Russell J.S., and do the Kickin' It Old School here on this channel. I'm thinking all kinds of stuff to do. But, meanwhile, I've just been busy with a lot of things. The holidays are over with. Now we gotta get through Valentine's Day, and, we can move on with of course, May is Mother's Day, and June's going to be Father's Day. And I'm going to have to save up and once again find myself something really cool to get myself for Father's Day. For those of you that have been following my channel, you know what happened. I mean, yeah, it is a sad situation in my life, and it's been nearly 5 years, but I have overcome, the pain is still there, but, I just figure out how to move on with my life. And that's what you got to do. You can't let the bad things that happen to you hold you down. You just gotta go ahead and pull forward. And that's why, I did start with the weekly narc, which would end up becoming the monthly narc, because I wanted to do the narcissist videos and all that other stuff. And well, I haven't found time to do that. I'm lucky to get time to make these videos. And, like I said, again, I thank you all for subscribing, all I guess 175 or 176 of you. I really do mean that. I really do. I mean, it means something to me. I feel like, I've made probably, some of you I know in person that, follow the channel, and some of you I don't. And, I feel like, you know, in a 50-50 ratio, I've made newer, 50% newer friends, and I hope to get more subscribers because, I'm thinking to myself, God, if I could get about 970 something more subscribers, that's 1,000 subscribers, then I could go ahead and set up a PayPal, and I could, do a spreadsheet where I can make t-shirts. I'm working on designs and everything for potential merchandise. Like what would it be? Because considering this is kicking it old school, I want to do like the kicking it old school kind of thing. Maybe, like a cartoon image of me, like say sporting a mullet and got an 80s style electric guitar or something, and then other versions of me, like, standing by a ghetto blaster, something like that. I'm thinking of all kinds of possibilities, and I'm I'm really looking forward to doing this. I got to look around for locations and things so I could do the adventure videos. Maybe I'll find an abandoned building to explore in or something. But other than that, here you have it. If you get yourself one of these, you know, just do what I'm going to do with it. If you want to play it, fine. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I just suggest keep it in the box like this and then put it up on a shelf. Maybe put it up on a shelf next to, like, say, I don't know, maybe you have, like me, you have a couple, action figures, commemorative action figures of Eddie from Iron Maiden. Put it right next to it, or whatever you want to do with it. But I got a couple bookshelves in my room, one in my closet and the other that's out there. And what I'm planning on is I'm going to have a couple different uses for each shelf. Top shelf is going to be like my Kiss shelf. And, I'm going to have everything, that's dedicated to Kiss. And then I got my Pac Man shelf already, where I'm going to, get everything old school Pac Man and what's new, like say this thing right here, the Basic Fun or My Arcades. And then one for the 80s. I'm going to find some stuff that's kind of 80s like, that maybe it's a reissue of something 80s, or something that originally came out of the 80s. Things like that. Just have like a whole, like my whole nerd shelf, and then the next shelf after that be everything New York Yankees, because I'm a Jersey boy, and I do support the Yankees. And then the bottom shelf I'll save for some books. And then the other shelf that I got in the closet that I'm going to pull out once I get the whole bedroom set up the way I want it, that's going to be like my movies and my music. It's going to be like, I'm going to have my stereo, and I'm going to have my, I already have like the Blu-ray player and the TV on the dresser. But, like, I'm also thinking like maybe a beanbag chair or a Pop-Zon chair, something in the center, just so I could have a little bit more room and maybe some kind of sitting space. So when I'm watching a movie or watching TV or playing a video game, I got somewhere to sit instead of the edge of my bed. But, that's what I'm working on. And, I'm getting ready to go out pretty soon. Hope you enjoy this video. And once again, hit a like, subscribe, leave comments in the box down below, and you know what to do with the notification bell. And remember, keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it chill. Keep playing old school video games, keep watching old school TV shows, keep watching old school movies, listen to old school music. Get you enough, get you enough of love, get you enough of peace, get you enough of tranquility, get you enough of less drama, no drama, get you enough of less chaos, no chaos. And, you know, and as always, I want to wish you Godspeed. May the force be with you always. And shuckalaka kapow. Have a good one. Oh, and, with it being the wintertime, for those of you up north that are going through all those snowstorms, I mean, we're getting it. As you can see, I'm wearing long sleeves and I'm down in South Florida, but we are getting cold fronts. We're getting the tail end of that. We're just getting the cold winds and everything. But I want to say to you, be safe in that weather. Bundle up warm. Keep yourselves warm. Don't catch no colds nor pneumonia. Just keep yourself safe. Keep your family safe. Get the heater going, the fire in the fireplace going. Just keep yourselves warm. Winterize those pipes, everything. And as always, once again, Godspeed. May the force be with you always. And shuckalaka kapow!